Hello guys, and welcome back to another prediction. This time I will talk about the upcoming box office performance of the next comic book movie, Venom. As always, I will start this prediction off with the factors which work in favor for a more positive outcome of the box office performance. First of all, I want to name the trailer view count of Venom. I must admit that not long ago I wasn't really taking trailer view counts that much serious when it came to creating predictions here, but I must also admit that in the last 12 months they really grow on me. When you just check the list of the most viewed trailers in the first 24 hours, beside 50 Shades Darker and Transformers Last Night, and of course the Game of Thrones trailer, every movie out of this list opened to very good numbers, and even 50 Shades Darker and Transformers Last Night's numbers weren't that much horrible for Venom. As you have probably already seen, Venom is on that list with enormous 64.3 million views in the first 24 hours across multiple platforms. On top of that, the trailer views on the second Venom trailer are also very strong at around 55% of the trailer views of the first one. Pretty good hold for a second trailer in comparison to the first one. With that being said, the trailer views are definitely a pro point for the box office performance of Venom. The next thing that I want to point out is the competition Venom has to face when it hits cinemas on October 5th. While I do think that movies like A Star Is Born, Bad Times at the El Royale, First Man and the new Halloween movie could become successes at the box office, I don't think that they will affect Venom by much, putting the movie in a very good situation with a lot of room to play well during the month of October. The next thing that I want to name is the already forecasted opening weekend for Venom. By taking a quick look at the long range forecast on Box Office Pro, it shows that they expect Venom to open to around $65 million, breaking the October opening weekend record of Gravity by around 20%. A forecast like that is not so often seen by Box Office Pro, and since they are, most of the time, pretty good with their numbers that they predict, I put this point also on the pro point list. The next thing and last point that I want to name is, of course, Tom Hardy as the main protagonist. While the career of Tom Hardy hasn't been perfect box office wise, collecting some flops like The Drop, Child 44, Lock or Legend, his box office past when it comes to the really big budget movies has been sensational. Dunkirk, The Revenant, Mad Max Fury Road, The Dark Knight Rises and Inception were the movies he starred in from 2010 to 2018, and all of them were huge successes box office wise and critic wise, putting Venom in a really good spot. Also, Tom Hardy is known to be part of a project just when he thinks that the movie will be a success when it comes to the quality. For example, did he left the cast of Suicide Squad because he wasn't really happy with the script. The only thing that works against a good box office performance of Venom is, at least from my point of view, the first impression that I get from the trailers and the past projects of the director Ruben Fleischer, who I'm not that much impressed by. Alright guys, I will now fade in all aspects that I just counted for a good or bad box office performance of the movie, and I will now start with the pessimistic prediction on Venom. When Venom will be received by audiences and critics like Gangster Squad Wars, another movie from Ruben Fleischer from 2013, then I think that Venom will fail to crack the opening weekend record of October and will probably have problems to break even with the overall costs of the project. In this scenario, Venom will open to $48 million, comparable to 50 Shades Darker and The Last Night's opening weekend, and will finish its domestic run at $110.88 million, after a 2.31 multiplier, a little worse than the multiplier of Justice League, since Venom will not have the Christmas time to play well over the long run. From overseas territories, Venom will earn roughly 42% more than in the domestic market, the same domestic to overseas ratio like The Dark Knight Rises had, and will earn $157.45 million for a combined worldwide cum of $268.33 million. While this is not enough for the movie to break even with the overall costs, It wouldn't be a huge disaster for Sony, since they were intelligent enough to put the project on a reasonable budget of just $100 million. With additional 75 to 85 million costs on marketing, and with the fact that Sony will get roughly 50% of the domestic earnings back, 40% of the overseas earnings, excluding China, and around 20% from China, this will not be enough for the project to break even, since roughly 400 to 450 million must be earned so that the project will reach that point. Now to the realistic prediction. When Ruben Fleischer delivers a solid comic book movie with Venom, nothing special but also not bad at all, something in the upper 60% rating range on Rotten Tomatoes, then I think that Venom will crack the opening weekend record of October and will probably crawl over the verge to break even and earn some money through home media sales after the theatrical run is over. In this scenario, Venom will open to $60 million, a little under what Box Office Pro is predicting, and after a multiplier which should be a little bit better than in the Pessimistic prediction with 2.55, the movie will finish at the domestic box office with a total of 153 million. With the same domestic to overseas ratio that I used on the Pessimistic prediction, Venom will earn around 270.26 million from overseas territories, and due to a more breakout performance from China when it's getting a release there, Venom will earn a total of $265 million from overseas territories, putting the movie at a worldwide cume of 418.260 million, right in the break-even range. The question is, what can happen when Venom really breaks out, shines with its quality and makes critics as well as audiences happy, and when on top of that Halloween and the other competition fails to steal audience attention from Venom away. In this scenario, Venom will be a huge hit for Sony and definitely the next huge success story after Jumanji. In this scenario, Venom will break the October opening weekend record even more drastically, with an opening weekend of $78 million, beating Disney's Marvel competitor Ant-Man and the Wasp on the opening weekend. After a multiplier of 3.1, Venom will finish its domestic box office performance with a total of $241.8 million, beating Mission Impossible Fallout, Ant-Man and the Wasp and Solo: A Star Wars Story in the domestic market. From overseas territories, Venom will earn a total of $400 million, leading to a worldwide cume of $641.8 million. This will lead to overall earnings of roughly $270.9 million for Sony and an overall profit of around $80 to $100 million after removing production and marketing costs. This outcome will make Sony very happy, and they will probably start to plan a sequel on Venom. The next video will be a prediction on Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, or First Man, or Creed 2. Thanks for tuning in, more videos to come. Bye bye.